Well, thank you to Matt Brooks, Alex Siegel, Senator Norm Coleman, and the Board of Directors for inviting me to speak before you all today. As a Christian freshman congressman from Georgia's 3rd Congressional District, I'd like to begin by addressing the obvious question. Who is this guy with 2 first names, and why is he here? Well, this is my 5th visit to RJC, and I have the lanyards to prove it, but this is my first time on this venerated stage. Thank you. You see, prior to my election to Congress last November, I spent the preceding 8 years of my life working for the greatest president of our lifetime and the greatest friend the Jewish state of Israel has ever had in the White House, President Donald J. Trump. I served as President Trump's political director in both the White House and throughout the entirety of his post-presidency. And I'm here today to thank you for helping us re-elect President Donald J. Trump and elect Republican majorities in the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives. And like Chairman Gruters, as a former political director, I want to talk a little bit about politics, if you'll indulge. As a data-oriented individual, I think we should review the numbers that show the success we've had. In 2024, this organization generated record shares of the Jewish vote across the key swing states of Florida, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, and my home state of Georgia through an 8-figure investment in voter turnout. In fact, within the last decade, the Republican-Jewish coalition has increased the Republican share of the Jewish vote across our country by 50%. And with your hard-earned resources and steadfast support, you helped re-elect Republican incumbents in tough races and propel Republican candidates to victory, delivering us a critical congressional majority for President Trump's record-breaking agenda. The operation you've built and the strategy you've deployed are working, so as the deputy chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee, I'm here on behalf of the campaign arm of House Republicans to say thank you. I'm also here today to share my story and the path that led me to have so much in common with you. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, a state with a very important Senate election next year, and I was raised in Peachtree City, deep within the heart of my congressional district. By the way, I represent more Delta Airlines employees than any other member of Congress, and I'm proud to report that Delta just announced the restoration of its nonstop service from Atlanta and Boston to Ben Gurion Airport, so I sure hope you'll visit me in Georgia soon. After high school, I went to Pepperdine University, one of our country's leading Christian colleges, shout out Pepperdine, and it's a beacon of hope, frankly, amidst the waves of prejudice sweeping across our nation's campuses. As we've sadly seen in recent years, many of our country's highest-rated universities have become laboratories of anti-Semitism, indoctrinating their graduates with intolerance and hate. Just this month, though, as students on college campuses ripped down posters of the hostages brutalized in Hamas's captivity, my alma mater was different. Pepperdine instead built a sukkah to celebrate the rich tradition of Sukkot and honored the memory of the victims from October 7th in a ceremony led by the Consul General from the Jewish state of Israel. After I graduated from Pepperdine in 2010, I devoted the first 4 years of my career to the movement we all share to strengthen our country's relationship with Israel. And if we remind our minds, about a dozen years ago, our coalition was sadly accustomed to disappointment after disappointment. Let's remember, we petitioned the Obama administration to move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and recognize Jerusalem as the true capital of the Jewish state of Israel, and we were rejected. We asked the Obama administration to fully enforce the laws passed by Congress to combat the boycott, divest, and sanctions movement and enable American companies to trade and prosper, and we were ignored. And we fiercely lobbied Congress against President Obama's JCPOA, a deal with Iran that would have endangered the safety and security of the United States of America. And yet, over 40 Senate Democrats blocked us from success. Over 40 Senate Democrats back then obstructed us, which sounds ironically familiar today. But thankfully, the 2016 election was near and President Trump was ascendant. I joined President Trump's campaign from our movement to strengthen this relationship with Israel, and I served in the White House from the very first to very last day of President Trump's first term. And one of the qualities I most admire about him is that he remembers his friends and he keeps the promises he makes. Thankfully for those who may doubt that statement, we have the receipts to prove it. Less than a year into his first term, on December 6, 2017, President Trump officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of the Jewish state of Israel. A promise made and a promise kept. On May 14th, 2018, the 70th anniversary of the founding and our country's recognition of Israel, President Trump opened the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. A promise made and another promise kept. And in 2018, President Trump kept his promise and withdrew the United States from the disastrous and dangerous Iran nuclear deal. I mention this because in 2 years, President Trump accomplished just about everything our movement at the time sought to achieve in the decades prior. And he did so, and this is important, he did so with the full support of Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, the trifecta of Republican power in Washington. Sadly, the 2018 midterms came, and the following years ushered in a dark era for our country with 2 impeachments of President Trump and a Biden administration intent on dismantling all of President Trump's success. But look what happened in 2024. With your support, we again delivered complete Republican control of our federal government, and the success speaks for itself. Less than 9 months into his second term, President Trump negotiated peace and freed the hostages from Hamas's brutal captivity, an incredible diplomatic achievement deserving of a Nobel Prize, the Congressional Gold Medal, and any other award that truly honors historic accomplishment. And we can have 39 more months of this if we do our job next November. When President Trump is leading from the Oval Office with Republican majorities in the House and Senate, incredible things happen. Peace prevails and prosperity abounds. So our mission is clear. We must not allow the last 2 years of President Trump's second term to be subject to Democrat majorities in Congress. This is about his legacy, and victory is within our grasp. We just have to build upon the cycle after cycle success that Matt and the talented RJC team have generated, and I, as the Deputy Chairman of the NRCC, look forward to partnering with you, the Republican Jewish Coalition, to ensure our incumbents and our candidates have every tool to win again next November. Thank you. In closing, I'd also like to acknowledge the incredible Jewish Republicans with whom I serve in Congress. Congressman David Kustoff, my neighbor in Tennessee and the dean of the Jewish Republican congressional delegation, so to speak, is one of the finest and most respected men in the House of Representatives. Congressman Max Miller and I joined President Trump's campaign in 2016, and we worked together for nearly every day of President Trump's first term, often traveling on Air Force One, and believe me, the two of us never missed a trip to Las Vegas. Max is a rising star and a leader of the sophomores in Congress. And I'm proud to be a member of a freshman class that includes Congressman Craig Goldman and Randy Fine. This past summer, the three of us, along with a dozen of our freshman colleagues, traveled to Israel. This was my first time ever visiting Israel. Despite the fact that I had had an opportunity to work for the movement for the first 4 years of my career, this was my first trip, so it was very special and frankly was one of the most important trips of my life. And in the city of David, we walked the Pilgrim Road between the Temple Mount and the Pool of Siloam. In the north, we stood on the shores of the Sea of Galilee and visited the Church of the Primacy of St. Peter. In the Old City, we navigated the streets, the holiest site in all of Christianity, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And each step on this journey, Craig Goldman and Randy Fine worked to ensure this trip was meaningful and memorable for their colleagues of Christian faith with a kindness that was deeply appreciated by us all. So I implore you, as I close, and when you look at President Trump's legacy, we look at what he's accomplished over these last 9 months and the first 4 years of his first term. It's all about next November. If we do not have Republican majorities in the House and Senate, everything can change. We have to do our job to give him a lasting, durable 39 months left in his presidency. And as I mentioned in the beginning of my remarks, this is my first time speaking on this historic stage. So to put my good friend, Matt Brooks, on the spot, I sure hope you invite me back. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.